Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, can I share something with you guys before we get into the actual hardcore coding
Sure.
shit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah?
sure.
Okay, so I started something which I wanted to start a while ago, but finally I started it. And once I'm done, I promise I'm gonna provide this to all of you. So I started making finally the Milano board with a step-by-step chapter process. So it's like a
Oh,
cheat sheet in a sense, if that makes sense. And it's literally just like, guiding you through the process that we're reading in the different chapters. Here you have like the different code sections and all of that, right? There was one thing that I didn't understand. I would like to ask about it, see what you guys think. But yeah, I also shortened it. I tried to shorten it more, from what he put out there in the different chapters. But I figured this could be super useful if we
Mm.
just need to check back and remind ourselves about like some specific thing, right? So for example, for the design phase, and sorry, I haven't done that yet, but I tried to do this next week. For the design phase, I obviously want to put like all the different formulas in there and stuff like this. What do you guys think? Helpful?
Yeah,
oh,
that's
that's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's, for all the courses for all the sections which I've completed, I've actually prepared, what do you call,
Summaries.
yeah, short summaries, and I think lots of persons are doing it.
Oh, then y'all should share it, yeah, because I think the way
Yeah.
Stella structured it will be very useful for me later to just go through. Because yeah, scrolling
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
entire thing is too much.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah,
Visual
yeah.
learners. I'm
Yes.
just saying visual learners, like
yeah.
little portions and structuring it in a way where you're like, oh, right, I need this formula. Zip, 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 zip. Here's the formula, right? And then
Yeah.
taking it out
Also,
because
guys,
that's what's
sorry
been
to
missing for me.
pause this, but we have a newcomer here.
Oh, you're right. Hi, Amaryllis. You want to introduce yourself? Oh,
Hi.
camera. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. Yes, I just wanted to check out. I see that you're far ahead. I just finished Module 2, but I wanted to get to know you and check what the community is about here in your study group. And yes, my name is Sarah. I'm from Croatia, and nice to meet you all.
Oh, nice
That's
to
all
meet you
for now.
too. Thank you.
What's
Yeah.
your background, Sarah? Like, what do you do?
My background is electrical engineering. I was 5-6 years working as a commissioning automation engineer.
Wow.
Also a little bit in software development and a little bit around the world on
That's pretty awesome.
startup of different factories and so on.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. So you do know coding, I assume. So module 4 will be easy for you.
Yes, I don't know for now how it will be. I hope it will be easier than I expect. But I know a little bit of Python, so I saw that it's Python based mostly. So
Yeah.
hopefully will not be so dreadful.
No, so the way I've structured today's plan, at least, you will be able to follow through. If you want to stick by, we're going through module 4, but I'm breaking it down step by step. So you
Okay,
will be
great.
able to follow through. Yeah.
Can I just ask one question from module 2? I was, if you don't mind, if I'm not interrupting with the plan too much, because I couldn't find the answer.
Okay.
So I was thinking so I had one wrong answer and on the exam, and it was which of the following modifications would be feasible modification for a decentralized AMM? So in my first try, I don't know if you had that question maybe.
No, but
In
we
your
have found it. So can you give us the options?
The options are banning arbitrageurs from trading with liquidity pools, Then guaranteeing liquidity providers no loss of value for their liquidity provision. Third is allowing traders to specify an acceptable amount of slippage. And fourth is allowing liquidity pools to accept more than 2 types of tokens. And it's you can select multiple answers. So in first try, so my logic was, okay, so slippages mechanism, it's integral to the MM, so it can be the third. And also, we cannot ban arbitrators from trading with liquidity pools because we want them in the system. And then in my first try, I tried with allowing liquidity pools to accept more than 2 types of tokens, and that was incorrect. And then in my second try, because I took 2 times the exam to pass, I left this same. And then I also checked guaranteeing liquidity providers no loss of value for their liquidity provision, but that also wasn't correct. And now I really couldn't find in the materials the answer. I hope you can catch up with me. Sorry,
No,
I'm speaking
followed
too
through.
fast.
I followed through. In my opinion, the slippage thing is one of the answers. So third is an answer, and I thought fourth was an answer. Like more than two assets, and
Tokens, yeah.
the third one. Yeah.
So fourth, sorry, I didn't understand. Fourth and
Third and fourth both are the answers.
third. So third can be allowing traders to specify an acceptable amount of slippage.
Yeah,
This can be.
Yeah, so the logic would be that if there is more than that, more slippage than that, then the transaction just won't go through. So
Okay.
So it'll be like if the slippage is in this amount, I'm okay with the transaction going through. Otherwise, I won't do the transaction.
Okay. Okay.
It's not that you're changing the rules of the system. You're just saying that I want to do this trade, but my acceptable amount of slippage is this is how much extra I'm willing to pay. That's it.
Okay. Maybe I didn't think in that direction. Okay.
Because there are some pools that do that, like some protocols that allow that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, guys. So are we ready to start? Like Kojak, Lutra. Did you guys get the time to see through like module 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you put the link
I did it.
in the chat so that people
Which
can
link?
click it to the Collab?
To the what?
To the Google Collab.
Oh, the Collab. Okay. So I'll send both of these. Yeah, this one is. Yeah. So this is copy link. I'll add it to the chat here. Sarah, you should be able to open this too, I think. Modules 4. And this is the one we are coding in right now. I just made a quick one for.
We're doing everything right now in Google Collab because it's sufficient to use that. So for now, at least, we don't need to set up Python coding environments because the stuff we're doing, it's like it works in Google Colab as well, and we can interactively participate in it. So that could be helpful.
Oh, I can't. Okay, maybe I can do this. I don't know if this.
I feel that is, well, it's good enough to do it with you on screen, I think.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so guys, basically what I've tried to do here is just conceptually explain what the system really is, like what we're trying to do. So basically, if you look through module 4, you'll just see that we pretty much immediately start off with code. So what I've tried to do is like visually explain what the code is actually doing, how we are viewing the system, and what model are we actually following, right? So what we're doing here is we are imagining this the entire system as a bunch of states, right? And whenever we're in state, we start with the genesis state, which we'll define in a particular way. But this is the genesis state. Then something happens in the system, like someone does an action, and we move to state 1, like, and something new will happen. So I'll just I'll copy these guys and paste them here, I guess. this should work.
Such pretty
Okay,
colors,
we'll figure
by
it
the
out.
way. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I have to group them, right? Yeah, okay, group them, and so yeah, we go from state 1 to state 2 when when one of the people, and these are like not people, but these are in for us they are entities, right?
Agents and keys, right?
They're agents, but also the AMM is here, right? So it's not exactly agents, but it's the state. Like
Keys.
it's the way we think about it is these are the, if I have all this information, then I know everything about the system that I need to right now. It's a snapshot of the system right now. And this is all the information I need to understand what the system is doing currently. And the actions will be here. Like, let's say it'll be something like, let me increase this. Trader trades token 1 for like 10 token 1s, right? So this will be an action that will happen and that will change the state to something else. This is basically how we are modeling the entire system. And on Python, the question is, how do we convert this into code? That's one part of the question. But the other thing is we have to answer, what are the things that I need in a state to which I can actually explain the entire system? So the thing that we've used in our code here, if you look at this, like when they've tried to explain the genesis state, we need to know about the AMM. Like, what is the current state of the AMM? Like, how many tokens of token 1 do they have? How many token 2 do they have? How many pool shares does it have? And what's the fees currently? Because maybe the fees will change. Maybe we want to make it dynamic. So it's better to keep that information within the state itself. Then we have a trader, which is another entity. They will have like how many tokens they currently have, and the liquidity provider and how many tokens they currently have. So if we have this information, and we are currently just assuming one trader, one liquidity provider, and the AMM itself, this tells us everything about the system that we need to know. And then we can calculate everything that we done in module 3. Like we can calculate how much arbitrage, how much slippage will be there if a trade happens. Everything that we learned in module 3 is easy to do once all this information we have here. So the way we are imagining it is a series of states that change because of transition, like actions that someone makes in the system. And like, for example, when we look at the Genesis block, which is the same set of code that we have, the way you're supposed to look at it, again, like since we are, we had done this before the break, so I'll just explain it again. What this is a dictionary. And a dictionary, it's a nested dictionary. So what it is you're trying to store information through text. Like we could have done it through lists. We could have just had a long list of every number that we need to know. And all the AMM numbers are the first 4 numbers. The trader numbers are after that. We could have done that, but this just makes more sense because the way you're supposed to read it is, okay, this is my genesis state. That's my variable. The first item this is the first item inside the dictionary, and that is the AMM. And this is the information of the AMM. So everything that comes after the colon explains the information within the AMM. So you're looking at the 3 items within the genesis state: AMM, trader, and liquidity provider. And this is the information about the AMM that we need to know. Sorry? Yeah.
You can see me. I wasn't sure. Okay. I'm not sure if we should sit with just stick with the syntax, right? So we get it down. But he describes this as keys. AMN, trader, and LPs become keys in this. Should we just stick to this?
It was somehow confusing for me as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you expand? Can you increase the size of the display?
Out here, this is the max I can do.
Oh.
Recommendation row. If you go to screen share, right, to your screen share button, there should be a little arrow where you can adjust your frame rate. Your frame rate right now is at 60 frames per second. If you lower it to 30, probably there will be less of like transmission failure.
Okay, cool.
Just recently realized this.
Okay, nice. Right, so what we can do is, we'll cut this. We'll actually go through the genesis state. which was here, and actually run it. So we can actually go through what that was. So when I run it, the way I'm supposed to look at the dictionary is if I print it, I'll get all the information about the system. And if I want to look at a particular thing inside Genesis, like let's say I want to know what the state of the AMM is inside this system, I just put a bracket, call AMM, and it gives me the information about the AM. It has 100 token ones, 100 token two, 100 pool shares, and fees are zero. And if I want to go even more inside this is how I do it. I go into AMM and then I dig deeper into, let's say, R1, and I'll get the information within R1, which is 100. So the way you think about it, so if you want to know what the keys are, you write genesis.keys. I think this should work. Okay, maybe like this. I think this is how it works. Yeah, so it tells you like what the keys are, right? And if you want to know the values inside the keys, Genesis.
So simple.
Yeah.
Okay. So key more or less means our agents, right? And this might be the AMM, it might be the trader, or it might be the liquidity provider.
Correct. Like entities.
Dutta, just 1 second.
Yeah.
Agents are specific. I mean, agents are like human beings who take decisions.
That's why I'm saying entities.
Entities is a better word to use.
Yeah. So it's agent and the pool itself. Agents and the pool. Whatever that combination is I'm calling it entities.
I think the problem we're facing is that trader and LPs are agents, but the AMM is not an agent. That's the core confusion.
Some are human and some are code, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the pool, everything that you want to track, that's the main thing. Like, and how we can conceptually break it down. So we can track humans, right? One trader has this much tokens, wallets maybe. Like, so we can track like trader 1, trader 2. So if I want to, when my system gets more complex, what I'll have is I'll have trader 2. Yeah. Trader 2. And I'll have information about trader 2 as well. Right?
Yeah.
So I can just keep adding to this dictionary and my state will keep on increasing because there are more and more things we need to keep tracking now. But it's still conceptually the same thing in the sense that the entities that we need to track. Because the model itself, what it's doing is it's just, we're just trying to get a snapshot of the state at every instant and then track the state transitions. So what happens here, like if you remember, like what happens when we've done the fruit seller example thing, that was also very similar. It was like these were like the state, and then you have a function generally that represents this transition that happens. So in the case of our code here, we had the state, which is a nested dictionary through which we describe entities and how much the information inside them. And then we define state transitions, which are functions. So what functions do is they take in the state current, like the inputs are state and the action that's happening, like the particular let's say trader trades 10. So that all that information we'll put into inputs. So it takes the state, it takes the inputs, it understands what agent is doing the action, it understands how much of token 1 or whatever is being swapped. It understands what the fee factor is, which is basically just how much fee is there in the system. In our case, since the fee is 0, we'll go into state, which is the Genesis state, right? Then we'll go into the AMM and we'll ask for the fee, which will be 0. So that's what the code here is doing, if you think about it. Like it goes into the state, it calls for the AMM, it calls for the fee, and this, whatever this is, will become 0. And therefore the fee factor will become 1. So in our case, fee factor will not change anything in our code. Whatever formula we found to find delta y is put here. So if you know x, y, like x1, y1, like the state, how many tokens are there in the state in x1, how many tokens are there in state 0 for y, x and y, and we know the phi, and we know how delta y and we know delta x, we can find delta y. That's what this formula does. It finds delta y for us. And that's just the math. We can look into like how it's done, but it's basically just the math that we did in module 3.
Just one second, Rohan. What exactly is dA1? Is it delta A1?
Yeah, it's delta x actually for in our math.
Oh,
Yeah.
delta X, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So
also
basically, this is
confused
age.
by it.
Yeah,
But
and the in fact,
And-
let's go into the code.
And dA2 is delta Y, is it?
Yeah, correct, correct.
Oh,
So
Just
let
a
me.
quick question, sorry.
Yeah.
I think I get the logic of this, but I was wondering with regard to the inputs. There's agent input 0 and then the change inputs 1. To which refers the 0 and the 1?
Yeah. Okay.
The
So
elements of our keys?
no. No.
Okay.
That's why that's why it's important to get look at this. This is how we're going to use it. We have the state defined again. We are defining another variable called genesis, and we are calling that function where we'll pass the state of the system,
Yes.
and then if you look at it, if I look at it, it should highlight the 3 items: AMM, trader, and LP. And what I'm telling it is, I want to swap asset 1 to asset 2, where the trader is swapping 10 of asset 1 for asset 2. So the second, we're going to use the second variable, what is it called? I mean the two input argument. The second argument in our function.
argument.
Yeah, out here, if you look at it, here the inputs is going to have this thing, trader, 10. So if I add the code again here so that it makes sense to us, let me just copy paste swap to asset 2, and I'll take it here so that we can just look at it together. So what will happen is swap to asset 2 as a function will get called. It will be sent 2 inputs: Genesis, the current state of the system,
Yes.
and this list.
The action of the trader, right?
Yeah, like who is doing the action and how much are they trading.
Yeah.
So now we go into the code, and what will happen is input 0 will take the first item inside the list, right? So since inputs is this thing,
Yes.
it's the second thing, second argument, we'll call it inputs, and input 0 will be agent. So that'll be trader. So agent became trader now. Like this will become trader, and this will become 10. So DA1 will be set to 10, which is delta X now. Phi factor will be set to 0. This will become 0.
Sure.
Right? Because again, like if we go into the AMM and we go into the phi, AMM and the phi, it's 0. So it'll be 0, 1 minus 0 is 1. Sorry, this thing becomes 1. So phi factor is 1. Agent is trader. Delta X is DA1. And then we do all of this math, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it will give us whatever delta Y was. Right?
Rohan,
Yeah.
I'm not Lutra. You were asking why it says inputs 0, right, and inputs 1. This is an actual question, right? And I think it's just an index number, isn't it, Rohan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's do this. Let's print inputs. Let's print inputs 0. The way I'll do it is inputs 0 will be printed with this. This will be inputs, so input 0. So if we just run this and run this, yeah. So inputs got printed. If you look at it as trader, 10. So whatever input when we called this function here, swap to asset 2, right? It got sent the state. It got sent this list, and this list when it went into the function, renamed as input.
Is the question not rather like why isn't the AMM input 0?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, so
Exactly. I was just wondering because if I look at the genesis state, the first element would be the AMM, and the second the trader, and then the 0, according to my understanding, refers to the first part, so the AMM, and I wasn't sure if it's right or got I wrong with the list and the functions or something like that.
no, so let me do one thing. What I'm trying to get to here is that there are two arguments being sent. So the Genesis
Yes.
thing that's being sent
Everything above, yeah.
will be called state.
Sure,
So
okay.
inside this function, whenever we call state, that's where Genesis is being used. And when we call inputs, this thing is being sent to it. So if I let me just print two things here. I'll print inputs and I'll print state, right? So when we run this and we call the function again, what will happen here is the first thing that got printed should be inputs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is trader comma 10.
Okay.
And when I call state, that's when the entire state got printed. That's when the Genesis got printed. So if I type input 0 and we run it again, if I run this again, now trader got printed. So input 0 is trader, not the state. When I do state AMM, this is what you're thinking of. And then I print it, we'll get what is there inside the AMM. I don't know. Am I making any sense? Like what I'm trying to say is inputs is this thing, trader comma 0. So when I put input 0, trader will come. Input 1, 10 will come.
But I have first to define my input, right?
Okay. I see why we're confused. Okay. So let's actually take a detour and understand what functions do. So let's define a function called function 11, whatever, or hello. Right? Yeah.
Rohan, it'll be great if you separately show the algebraic thing and then translate that into code.
Okay. But I think we are confused at what functions are supposed to do. So I'm just gonna try to first explain how arguments work inside functions. So here, if I do argument 1, okay, so I'm gonna define a function that returns argument 1. Okay. It'll take two arguments, argument 1 and argument 2, and it'll return whatever argument 1 is. Okay, that's all the function is doing. I'm gonna say state is equal to 5, and I'm gonna say inputs is equal to 2, 3. I'll call this 0, 1. Let's say. So these are two different things. And now I'll call the hello function. I'll pass the first argument as state, and I'll pass the second argument as inputs. So my question is, when I run this, what should be printed out at the end of it? When I'm returning argument 1.
We start with the initial state of 0, 1. The function is just argument 1. There should be 0, 1, right?
Right. Yeah. So it'll just print out the state itself. And that's what is happening here. Like here, and if I do agent is equal to inputs 0, argument 2, and let's say 0. This is what we've done in the code, right? Argument. So this is exactly what we're doing here. If you think about it, we are taking two arguments, we're calling them state and inputs, and then we're trying to print the second argument's first number. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking two arguments. The second argument's first number I'm trying to print here. And I'm going to return the agent now. So when I run this again, I'll get 2 because argument 2 got argument 2 got defined as inputs here. I don't know. I'm like going all over the place here. Um, like so when we call the function, whatever we send here as inputs, like as our arguments, they go into the function definition and get renamed as this and this. And that's what's happening here. Like Genesis state got renamed as state, and inputs, which was trader comma 0, got renamed as inputs. So inside the function, when I say inputs, everything that was the trader comma 10 is inside inputs now.
I just want to say, I think that's actually quite well understood. Literally, the only question is like, why does trader being defined as index 0? Like, why is it the first thing in the list when, you know, where it's being called from, it's not the first thing in the list?
Yes.
Because this is what we're sending as input, as this. So input. So you're supposed to
get defined from the Genesis state. It gets defined from the swap to asset 2 function. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. When we call the function.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it now.
Yeah.
Got it now.
Yeah.
0 stands for trader and the 10 stands for 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a problem. It's not related to the Genesis state and the entities in the list.
Got it.
It's related to this definition. And then it's the first argument in the brackets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Got it now.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. But that was really confusing me.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, don't mind. It's just on me, and it's great to have your help on this.
Okay. Right. So when we define, give me 1 second. I'll have to open my door.
Advertisement break. How are you guys doing so far?
Buy some dog food.
Also, welcome Ram 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What a creative name! Welcome to the group.
Hi guys.
Hi there.
Nice to have you. Are you coming from another study group or are you just starting out, Ram?
No, I mean I'm just starting out. So I just came to token engineering community like a couple of weeks back, and then today I was a little free, so I was exploring Discord and there's an event going on. So I just joined. I mean, sorry if I shouldn't join.
No, of course you're welcome, but we're already doing the coding, so I think now probably isn't the right time to.
But
like
also,
you won't catch it.
Yeah. Also, this is like literally the beginning of chapter 4. So actually, kind of perfect timing. At least within chapter 4, perfect timing. And I just wanted to also add for Sarah as well. We have I think all the sessions recorded on YouTube. So just go to our Notion. It's all pinned in our channel, Visual Learner Study Group. So this is where you should find all the resources. If you don't, just poke me or Rohan. Okay, giving you the floor again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right. Okay. So just one thing I want to clarify. There are 2 things that we do with functions. We first define them whenever we use def as the starting statement. So we are defining a function, and then we are calling a function. These are 2 separate things that happen.
Yeah.
Right? So when we're calling the function, that's when we pass the arguments to it. Here, we've not even said what state or inputs are. I could have called it, whatever, Stella and Roro. Like, I could have called it anything. But when we call the function, that's when we are telling it what the first argument, let's say if this was Stella, if we pass Genesis to the, when we call the function, inside the function definition, Stella will become everything that the first argument is. So we are renaming thing when you're calling, and you have to. I think you'll just have to practice it. The main point is the more important information is that when we call the function, this after defining it, we send the stuff to it. And maybe you're getting confused because I've written let me move it up. Yeah, this makes more sense. that first we define the function, then we call it. But when we call it, the code will go back here and run this. That's the whole point of functions. It is to define it early on, because we are going to keep reusing that code again and again. So we'll define it somewhere. We'll call it. When we call it, and whatever we put into it goes into the function again and runs that set of code. This code will keep on running every time we call it like this. Anyway, so I think going through W3 schools, functions will really help you all here. If this part was especially confusing, so this page will really help you all. Just type W3 schools and functions. I think you'll understand.
JavaScript. Go to Python.
Sorry, Python. Yeah. Right, but I mean, it's the same actually. If you look at it, even here it'll be the same thing, just with different syntax. Yeah. Yeah, but sorry, you're right. So yeah, okay. I'll just at least try to get to some kind of like moving parts. Like, so what we're doing basically in the code is we're defining this nested dictionary, which is the state. By using the state, we're using these functions like swap to asset 2, swap to asset 1, add liquidity, remove liquidity, right? These are the 4 functions that we have, and this I've rewritten. So there are 4 things that people can do. They can either swap asset 1 for asset 2, swap asset 2 for asset 1, remove or add liquidity. And now we will call the state, we'll define a state, we'll put it inside like one of these functions and make a change, like do an action on it. And what we'll get after it is the evolution of the state from state 0 to state 1. And then if I add another thing here, like for example, if I do it this way, I define a state again, like this is where the state started, state 0. I do one action, which is swap to asset 2 by trader for 10, and then swap to asset 1, trader 9.09 or something. So there are 2 actions that have happened, and we get to state 2 now. So this was state 0, state 1, state 2.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And ideally, when you look at how this was defined in the code itself, all it is doing is the same thing that we did in module 3. It is let's say for here. First, we are let's look at the swap to asset 1 thing. It will first find out what the agent is. Like, let's forget how we are doing it, but let's focus on the fact that first we'll figure out who the agent is. Then we'll figure out how much of delta y are they like how much of asset 2 are they trying to trade, which is delta y in our math. Then we find the fee factor. In our case, it doesn't matter here. Then we do all of this math, which is basically we look at we are looking at token 1. We're dividing it with token 2 plus DA2. So that's delta y. So whatever, that's the math. We are just copy pasting it here.
Yeah.
And we are adding this one extra block, which is not something we've looked at right now. What we are checking here is 2 things. If you look at it, it's a if statement, it's a conditional statement. That's what, and we covered this earlier, which is basically this set of stuff. Like, so when we define the if statement, everything inside after the colon, like that is indented, this will only run if these conditions are true. Okay, and the conditions that we are checking are, is delta y or DA2 greater than 0? Because you shouldn't be able to trade negative amount of tokens. That makes no sense, right? So I have to put something in order to of the second token to get something back. And so first it checks whether the person is actually putting in some positive number of tokens, and then it checks whether the agent the amount of tokens that they're trying to trade they have in their wallet. So we are checking whether the agent's token 2 amount minus the how much they're trying to trade is greater than 0. Logic being that if I'm trying to trade more than what I have in my wallet, this entire thing will be false, and therefore this code will not run at all. So this is a safety check that we're doing in every function if you look at it. So this is the actual math. This line is basically the entire math. that we did in module 3. And this line is just checking whether the transaction should be legal or not. And we can do this for the entire thing and the entire code. Like again, if we don't focus too much on what exactly is happening, how the functions are being called, this is what I'm just giving you a broad structure of the code. That's kind of what's happening. We are and what we are doing here, for example, is we are defining now an action list. It's a list of actions that first liquidity is being removed, then again liquidity is being removed, and again liquidity. 3 things are happening here. This is the first thing. This is the second thing. Like we are doing 3 actions, and now what we are gonna do is try to, instead of every time writing a line, we are gonna run all the actions together. So when we just run this line, like all 3 things will happen together. I know I guess I'm going too fast here, but I'm not sure how I can, let's say, go slower, or maybe y'all need to ask me questions as to where we are stuck, and maybe we should do live coding sessions with Stella again and embarrass her on screen. Maybe that will help everybody.
Wait, I have to embarrass myself again so everyone gets it. Great.
I mean, y'all will have to help me as to where we are stuck here.
I mean, I honestly have to say, I don't feel stuck. For me, it was really
Okay.
helpful to kind of, put like the whole process down in like little compartments on Mila Note. Like this,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is what this does. And the only question that I had prior to the session was the one we just clarified thanks to Lutra. So
Oh, great.
also my only question, because you already for you guys, right, for the new guys, we there are 2 sessions on the YouTube channel that are tagged #Python beginners in the title. So we kind of went through this once before with like a more easy example of just like a fruit store, right, and people coming into a fruit store and buying stuff. So that is it's just a recommendation.
Please.
Because of that, I actually had no trouble to understand any of what you went through today. Just like
Yeah.
literally the one question, and that was resolved as well. So I like from my side, I'm good. Hi, Strata Trader. Good
Hello.
to see you. Good
Hi,
morning.
Sarah. Yeah, it's been a while.
Hi. Sorry about being absent. Just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm alive and I'm back, and I'm just trying to stick with it.
Yeah, lovely to have you. We just started module 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So yeah, let me try to again contextualize everything that we have done. We are looking at the state of a system. We're defining it as a nested dictionary, which basically has all of this information, which is how much token 1 AMM has, how much token 2 AMM has, pool shares and fees. Then we're looking into the trader, how much they have. So this entire thing will be a nested dictionary. This thing will be a function. So this will be either swap to asset 1, swap to asset 2, either remove liquidity or add liquidity, one of these 4 things. And we'll transition the state from state 1 to state 2 using these functions. So these functions will change the numbers here and there, and that will take us to
Rohan?
state. Yeah.
Just 1 second. Can you just change at the top the title from state 1 and state, instead of state 0, state,
All right, yeah.
state 0.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah. So what we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna show you the future of like where our code will go. Currently, every single time when we want to change a state, we'll have to write a statement like, if you look at this, we have to write a statement like this, right? But ideally, what I want to do is just define like 100 statements, put them in a list, and tell the code that after state 100, what is my system? Something like this. Like, it's called an action list. So if the liquidity provider keeps removing 5 tokens for, I don't know what, the 5 tokens, like again and again and again. Like they do it once, then they do it twice, then they do it 3 times. If they keep doing this, what will happen to the system? I don't want to like keep writing like, hey, first this will happen, then this will happen. Maybe I want.
The pool will be empty.
Yeah, correct. So if you see what is happening when we evolve that state with that, first liquidity provider had 0, 0 and pool shares of 100. Then in the second step, they have 5, 5 and a pool shares of 95. In the third step, they have 10, 10 and pool shares of 90. So basically, instead of now calling functions like line by line, I'm just defining the inputs now. The 2 inputs that we put into the function into a list. And then asking the code to figure out what function we want to call and what inputs do we want to give it. And so we are abstracting one level higher. And then ideally what we want to do is we want to make this also automated. Like we want to make it such that the agent makes a decision based on the state. So we'll define something like an arbitrager. That's the future of this. We aren't doing this in module 4 and we aren't doing this in token engineering fundamentals. But I'm planning to build something to show everybody that, hey, if we have an agent like an arbitrager, let's define a arbitrager, like a persona called arbitrager. What they'll do is they'll look at the external price. They'll look at the pool prices. If they think it's worth it, they'll make the trade. So you can define behaviors after that, and that behavior will itself define this action list. It'll determine the action list based on where the system is right now, and then you can actually start reasoning about the system way better, right? Like you can create these personas of people who are doing certain things based on certain rules that they see, and you can actually see what happens to the system. In this case, we've just defined the mechanisms. And what we are trying to do here is using those mechanisms to see whether the system breaks or not. If I keep on removing liquidity, does my bonding curve break? These are the things you can ask questions about. You've not defined behaviors, you've not defined anything yet. What you're trying to do is, if someone does all kinds of actions that they want to do, like we just randomize actions, see whether the system still stands. Because if it breaks, then something's wrong with our math or our code or our understanding of the system. That's the best we can do with the current mechanism that we've defined in this code. That's where we're going with this. I hope like that, bird eye view is helping a little bit to understand what we're trying to do, which is basically this. If y'all have any particular questions and y'all are trying to maybe, y'all have tried running this code, because this Visual Learners Module 4 is available to everybody. So y'all can try to play around with this, try to understand what these variables are, how these functions are defined. Try like changing stuff here instead of input 0, change input 1 and see how things break. Like just play around with these numbers. The structure is already there. Play around with these numbers, play around with things, understand what input is, understand what state is.
Rohan, is it possible to contact you separately, because I've got some trouble in my Collab installation?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Later, not now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Y'all can DM me anytime. Like I'm available to help, especially with if you are doing Python setups on your systems. That's going to be that might mess up if you don't do it carefully. So
yeah. I mean, I tried cat and the whole thing is really it's screwed up badly.
Yeah. So that's I mean, at least this is the best I can do right now. If maybe we can we can brainstorm and understand how I can help you all better, like in terms of do we want one of you all to actually screen share and run your code, and then we can discuss stuff. Maybe we can go about it as like, maybe we can define some exercises that we can do. I don't know.
I guess what we can do is that create one sort of a code sort of, and people can run it and pass the comments on a Google Docs, where exactly they are facing problem.
So here itself, by the way, I think there should be
Yeah.
an option to add comments.
On this itself.
Yeah, so there's an option to add comment. Yeah.
That would be good enough, I
Okay.
think. Actually, a very
Yeah,
precise thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, because I'm the owner, I'll get all the comments that you guys share. And I think I've shared it as y'all are viewers. Oh, that's right. Oh, but y'all can always duplicate it. So y'all can let me make this.
I think it's better
Anyone
if
with
we
link-
duplicate it, right, and save our own copy, and then we
Yeah.
put comments in our own copy, because otherwise it will also get very confusing at some point for you if this is all in the original document, all in the original Collab file. I think.
Stella, not necessarily. If Rowan just clears up. If he clears up one, he can just delete. I mean, what?
Resolve the comments. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you see, because it'll be impossible for Rowan to view each person's
Yeah.
sheet or whatever.
So what we can do is, since I've changed the link to like now y'all can, anyone with the link is a commentator. So you can actually, when you highlight a cell, on top there's a add a comment option. So you can ask, why is this function doing this, right? And I think this comment should stay. And I'll be able to help you all resolve it. Yeah. So
Exactly. You can keep on resolving it. The thing.
Yeah. So we can continue our dialogue here also.
Yeah.
While you can duplicate it and make your own setups.
Parallelly. Yeah.
In my opinion,
like somebody like Stella, you can do some really freaky stuff for the thing, and then
I don't want to do freaky stuff, Kojak. Don't worry.
I'm like, what the hell? Okay, Sarah, please, you have.
Sorry, just to ask, where can we find the link to your Google Collabs? Because I cannot find on Notion. I'm scrolling through.
It's on the chat.
On the chat, okay.
Yeah, but I'll send it again just to make sure, because I've already sent it.
Okay.
It also has the YouTube playlist link on the chat. So you can also watch the previous videos, especially the hashtag Python ones.
Yes, I saw that. I found on YouTube. Just the Google Collabs I didn't. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome. I actually also have something to share that might be of interest for the group.
Okay.
Because as I will be going to East Denver, I've been trying to attend more or less well, not all of them, but I've been trying all of them to attend Twitch streams by East Denver, because they're actually really, really useful to people like us. So if you go on, not Twitter, if you go on Twitch, they are running in preparation to the Build-a-thon that they have. They're running a lot of different sessions, and one that I particularly found interesting to our specific group was this one. Also trying to just copy this into the Visual Learners channel. It is essentially so they call this Front End Wednesdays, right? But interesting enough, was this guy, I think Aaron from Alchemy AI. They're running not only this coding hub, right, with which you can fairly quickly launch your own applications, or dApps, I should say, but also they implemented something that's called Alchemy University, which helps you to get started, like from a very beginner perspective, from someone who already feels comfortable in a quite large developer stack of blockchain technology, and then total pros who want to become mentors. I didn't even look at this because it's not there. Yeah, so very recommendable, and also they are very interactive. As it's still like 4 weeks to go to East Denver. They're providing like a lot of space for you to chat, to ask questions. So it's actually a really cool session, and they're doing so that was Front End Wednesday, but they're doing Smart Contract Tuesdays, Front End Wednesdays, Theory Thursdays. I have no idea what that means, and also they're doing Build East Denver. So this is, I believe, this is the Friday event that's actually happening today in a few hours. This is where they where they tell you about the bounties you can win. So if you guys ever wanted to try and go and hunt for some bounties, right? This is the space to inform yourself. So I just wanted to make everyone aware that this is happening. It's free, it's very interactive, and I deem the quality of entertaining and educational. So definitely gets like 5 stars.
Oh, right.
When exactly is ETH Denver, Stella?
ETH Denver is happening. It's the biggest Ethereum conference worldwide.
When is it? When is it?
And it is it's in Denver, Colorado, in the U.S. And it is it starts at the 24th of February and goes on until I believe the 5th of March. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
It's quite a long event, so there are a lot of like opportunities for people like us who are, you know, either beginners or advanced to join hackathon teams and learn from people who obviously know more than us, or learn from each other if you're already kind of like a high level. And because we're all so in love with decentralization, you can also take part in it even if you're not attending, like physically speaking. So I just thought this might be interesting, probably, since we are spread throughout the globe.
Yeah. Thanks, Stella. Thank you. That was good. Good reminder.
What I'm thinking, right? Yeah, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was looking now at this page for ETH Denver, but I cannot find what you're talking about for the alchemy. Maybe they didn't put, or just you apply to attend or to contribute.
Wait, I will put the links in the chat. Give me a second.
Okay. Roro, you can continue. Sorry. Or sorry, I didn't get your full name. So.
Oh, it's Rohan. Yeah.
Rohan. Okay.
You can call me Roro. It's okay.
I
So I'm
already
thinking-
put it in the chat. So yeah, there's where you can find it. It's on
Okay,
their Twitch
thanks.
stream. If you subscribe to their Twitch stream, then you're probably the most up to date that you can be.
Just a moment to find. Here in the second study group chat, I just see.
Visual Learning
Latest-
Study Club.
Okay, in that chat. Okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
Continue.
Yeah.
I will not interrupt.
Yeah, just 1 second. Hey, Stella, the bindi you're wearing, is it ETH? Is it a ETH
Yeah.
Ethereum symbol?
What? Oh, this.
the bindi.
On your forehead, yeah.
Bindi
That's
is
called a
the
big.
Ethereum symbol. I'm an
Are
ETH
you-
maximalist, didn't you know? No, I'm not. It was just
You-
like a cute, actually it was a cute NFT giveaway for people who were supporting first collection for Alana. That is why.
And so, how much is it worth? Is your forehead insured?
You know this, isn't it a rapper who like implanted a diamond or like super expensive gem into the skull of like into his forehead? There's this guy, I don't remember his name, but it's really, really crazy. Strata knows him. He's like best friends with him.
Yeah, I just actually spent the last weekend with him, Stella. I was just saying that they tend to do a lot of crazy stuff like that just for notoriety. But yeah, no, I don't know anybody. But sorry, I think Lutra was going to say something.
Okay,
But it seems you have to do something like that in order to be a really cool gangster rapper.
Okay,
Well,
guys,
I
I've left
think
the
I can-
exercise now.
I can safely say
Everybody?
none of us are, and we should get back to nerdy exercises. Okay.
Right, no, so I'm thinking I'll set up some like exercises like this, and we can answer them next time maybe. Like basically, I'm defining a new state, and let's say I'll define it for you guys. So, right, this is the new state, and what I want you guys to do is run. How many times can we call swap to asset 2 if a trader swaps 20 asset 1 for asset 2 each time? Does that make sense? Like, how many times will we be able to run that statement? It's very easy to do, but I want you all to just do it. which is just swap to asset 2.
You mean
Right,
until
so
we run out of assets, essentially? Is that the question?
when we run, yeah. I mean, yeah, basically,
We're draining
when the
the
code
pool.
stops running, and then try to figure out why the code stopped running, like what conditional statement or where did the code stop doing? Because the reason it'll stop, otherwise it will keep on going negative, negative, negative. The reason it'll stop is because in swap to asset 2, when we look at the code where we defined it, out here, there's this conditional state. And it makes sure that the agent can't do more trades than they have assets, if that makes sense. So I want you all to just run this and give an answer for, let's say I'll change the thing to 200 and 200, everything to 200, and let's see what answer we get. So I'll leave maybe 1 or 2 exercises like this, but you'll understand basically how to run this, and we have to do it 20, right? So the question is, how many times can you write the statement before the system breaks? If you all want to make it even more fun, can you write a for loop to do this automated and just get the answer of how many times you were able to run? If you're like an intermediate exercise for that. But I think this should be something you should be able to do because it's just copy pasting and seeing and just counting how many numbers are there. I will try to write some. So this will help you all play around with the code a little more.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I would be very thankful for that.
Yeah. So I'll add like maybe 1 or 2 more questions like this. So we just get writing this code, you'll pretty much figure out what's happening. The question is just like how to get started. Yeah. Have you all tried running the code though? Like this page?
Because I'm not able to install, Collab.
Right. Okay, I'll help you figure that out.
Yeah,
So for next
Thank
week,
you. Thanks, Shiva.
So for next week, we're gonna focus on doing your little exercises, your little diabolic exercises, and
Yeah.
and we're gonna try and go through the next 4 chapters in module 4. So that would be 5 to 8. Chapter
Great.
5 to
Yeah.
8.
So
Is that
we
alright for
verify.
everyone?
Did we want to get to 4? What is then 4 actually? You try updating the pool fees. 30. Okay, yeah. We got exactly that. 30
5,
cents, yeah.
6, 7, 8, right? And then we have 2 more left. But
Yeah.
I think let's keep taking it easy because we will probably, even if we go through everything, we will probably stick a little bit around to like try ourselves and become better at translating math to code.
Yeah, I think maybe what we can do next time is maybe what I can do is explain how the math got to the code, because I think the question still were like, when we go here, the question was what was like, where was
Yeah.
it? Sorry. Yeah, Kojak had this question, right? Like, how did
Yeah.
this even come?
Yeah,
Right.
it'll be great if you can actually if you can do the algebra.
Yeah.
That'll be. I mean, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
But even
What
if-
I'll do is I'll rename some of these. When we are doing it, I'll rename some of these because I don't like the naming convention that.
Yeah.
Because the math we did in delta y and delta x. So why
Yeah.
is this the right?
I mean, it's I thought it was the differentiator.
Yeah, no. This is I could have written it. I think we should have written it as like delta
Yeah.
y. It would have made more sense.
He gives a very strong reason for not doing that, though, in the module itself. He
Really?
Yeah, he said.
There is something in the course description.
Yeah, he says specifically that x and y are such common variables that for token engineering they try to refer to different variables. But I passed him a note this morning saying, hey, why does it need to be asset 1 and asset 2 and then the variable is R1 and R2, right? And he was like, oh, good point. I'm going to change this. So
Yeah. And for us, like naming conventions isn't the point. Like, I mean, I understand that later on if you are doing, but none of us are like, at least most of the people who are here in the group, the goal isn't to become like a Python token engineer, right?
Yeah.
So let's remove that barrier. I'll try to do I try to convert the math directly into like those the labels that we do, because again, like there are too many abstractions. Like we are just getting lost in all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I mean, the sort of material which they gave needed a lot of copy and content editing. I mean, like you just said, sometimes it's XY, sometimes it's asset one, asset two.
Yeah. Yeah. And already you're trying to wrap your brain around like the concepts, and over that, then the naming convention changes.
And when you make statements like, you take the opposite of the thing, when you actually mean negative.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah.
that's not right, actually.
Yeah.
It's not worth pointing it out either.
All right.
Stella, I think you were just mentioning for next week, or Rohan, you were mentioning for next week, right? I'm just getting back into the thick of things, so I will probably be a little bit slower. I'm going to go back to part 1 of module 4, and I'll be a little bit slower. But Rohan, maybe I'll just reach out to you to just kind of calibrate myself to see where I'm at, and then I'm looking forward to not missing another session ever again with my
Oh my God.
with my virtual family. How does that sound?
All right, perfect.
This sounds very lovely, actually, Strata Trader. Thank you. But also,
So that's such a beautiful
don't
painting
worry.
behind you.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is the virtual learners is like my family, so I want to maintain my consistent my learning here. So I will definitely I'll definitely be next week on time and everything.
Yeah. Also, let's do one thing. Let's keep a deadline for Thursday, which is one day before this.
Hey, Sarah, what is that, image behind you?
That's it's an art piece that one of my friends' wives did for me.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
It's an abstract expressionist painting that she did, and and so I it's a real painting. So yeah, she's her name's Varsha. She's from Kerala. I think Kerala.
Kerala.
Hey, that's
right?
my. Hey, I'm in Kerala now.
Oh wow.
All right. Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'm in an island off the coast of Kerala.
Which one?
It's Fort Cochin. Cochin?
Oh, Kochi, yeah. All right. I mean, you live there, right? Yeah.
Come
Okay,
back
so
on
it's-
screen.
this is-
Let's take a
this is-
picture. Sorry. Let's take a picture, everyone.
Yeah, everyone come up. Yeah.
Remember when we did this in the beginning? So everybody
Yeah.
smile
Yeah.
now.
Let's get her. I'm not wearing a robe this time, Stella. So you're lucky.
No, you can't get my picture because my camera is not. I mean, if I
Need a little bit makeup today.
I already did.
Nice.
Casual
Like,
Friday, no
all of you are
makeup.
completely the way you
Casual
were.
Friday, I see. All right.
So, by the way, guys, Stella and I officially got our NFTs for being study group hosts, and only 10 people actually received them. So, because there was a strict criteria of like people in your study group have to have cleared exams, and I think we had like probably the most number of people who cleared, right? Like I assume.
We had
Congratulations.
definitely the strongest
Wow.
outcome, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you both
Really,
made-
really. I mean, is that true that we've got the maximum number of persons who cleared exams?
I think so, right? Like we had so many.
I mean, there was a wait. Stop. We have to admit something here, right? Renee's study group had a lot of people. I think they cleared the most exams.
Yeah, I mean, but
Clear the
yeah,
most exams yet because we're a little bit slow. We're like the turtles.
they finished all the way.
We're
Yeah,
like
they
turtles.
finished all of it. By December, they finished like module 5 also, which is
Yeah,
pretty
they
wild.
finished everything, but it's also because I think the people that she brought on, they were already in, or they are already working in token engineering or in that field of Web3 blockchain tech. So I think it had a lot to do with that, right? If this is like the only thing you're dedicating your whole day to, of course, this looks a little bit different in forms of speed, right?
Yeah.
Like all of
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I'm running my own project, I'm doing my actual work, which has nothing to do with token engineering, and I'm doing this. So there's like
Yeah.
a 3 split of my day. I know Strata Trader is not like 100% just in this, right? Ludra neither, Kojak neither, Rohan neither, and Sarah probably neither. I would assume so far. So it's for us, it's like really like it's a challenge, right? To make space, make dedicated time for this. While for the people that mostly Renee, I think, had on her group, they were like just in it for this. They were just in it for this, right?
Yeah.
Time.
It's a different,
Well, part time,
Also,
right?
I have to share something. So since November, I was applying to so many places. I gave so many interviews. Like there were 2 places I gave 6 interviews. I gave assignments, and at the end they're like, "Oh, we don't have clients for you. Oh, oops! Like, we'll ghost you now for like another 20 days." But finally, yesterday, while we were on call, when we were getting our study group NFTs, like study group host NFTs, I got a message that I'm doing my first gig in token engineering as a full-blown token engineer. I'm taking a project from scratch. It's a NFT marketplace in Bangalore. And this is my first.
I actually heard of it from Seeker, I think.
Yeah.
So he told me about it.
Yeah, me and him are doing it together. Yeah, so we went through the calls, and it was quite an experience. And my goal is that once I go through that experience, I want to actually document, maybe not document the project, but document the difference that I had, like between the practical application of token engineering versus what we learned. Because there's a lot of thought processes and a lot of like things in the middle which aren't covered in the course. And hopefully maybe we can convert that into a module in Token Engineering Academy, like Token Engineering for Builders or like something like that, which is more practical and more like, hey, these are the problems that come. These are the thought processes you need to develop.
Rohit, that was exactly the idea behind TE Practical Labs, and also the idea behind pushing projects. Like all of us, I think all of us have got some projects. At some point or the other, we should slowly start getting back into that. It doesn't matter whether the projects go live or not, but I'm working on many initiatives on this particular thing. And I'll be arranging funding for them actually.
Right. No, that's right. So I feel like people like us, right? We need to, after we get some experience, we need to come back and help the community to show them like, hey, these were the things that I learned, which I didn't learn in the academy maybe. And like I think that, because I was wondering like what, there were a lot of things that currently also like while I'm beginning the project, I'm struggling with. And I feel like if I can communicate that with the community, it'll really help everybody. And I love people, so I can do another module. Like I can.
Yeah.
I have 2 things to say. So Stella, to you on the explanation about us being spread so thin and doing so many different things. I would just say one thing. Just remember, quality over quantity. That's the thing we should always remember. Number 1, we are focusing on making sure we're doing things. We're not rushing through it. And I would just say, anybody else in any other courses that they're teaching, they can do it at their own pace, right? But what do we learn from the tortoise and the hare? Slow and steady wins the race. So that's number 1. Number 2, Rohan, with respect to what you even said about bringing back to the community, I've had a lot of time over the holidays to reflect on my journey down this path, where I started, where I want to go. And what I've realized is that we should continue this visual learners group, because I think that there is a secret sauce that we have within this group that can even turn into its own sort of collective unit that can contribute in many different ways. And whether it be through what you said, Rohan, through your experiences, or whether it be through my experiences on other avenues in other areas, who knows where we go? But I think as long as we're always giving back, I think we will always have some value add to give to this community, and we'll make a difference. And I think that's where we're here for, to make a difference and do what we love doing. So I think this is great. And who knows, we might even create our own little DAO, visual learners DAO.
Actually, because we got designers on board, we got economists on board, we have like coders, everything. Like we got the whole gang.
No, the thing is, like, the thing, if you looked at it, like, all the projects, they they fell into a kind of a schema. Like, uh, you know, Luthra's was the overall, kind of a DAO, and mine was, I had a sort of an incentivization mechanism. Lakshman had something about Lakshman and what do you call
Seeker.
Florent. Yeah, Florent had something to do with evaluation of tokens, and Seeker is pretty advanced in as far as what he's doing as far as the carbon credits is concerned. I think he's going places.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, everybody. I mean, what Stella had this, composability thing, which is also fantastic. If she follows up on it, for the sake.
Someone is doing it now already.
So
This is
the
why
whole
I've
thing is
not
fantastic.
touched it.
Pardon me.
I just wait until they develop it. Then I wait until that code is released. Then I make that code better because then I know how to make it better, right? And then. No. I don't
Play
know,
the imitation game.
I'm really curious, like everything that's going to be developed in 2023, because the bear market is still, being very persistent. So that means projects have to they have to really start becoming creative, right? It's not about like, oh, this is a problem, let's solve this problem. And then there is no other thing attached to it. No, no user experience, no storytelling, no nothing. No, you won't win people with that, right? We're still humans. We still want to be wowed. It's not just about finding a solution. It needs to be a good solution, and it needs to be usable and user-friendly. So I think this bear market is actually, I know people are gonna kill me when they see this on YouTube, but it's a good thing that is happening to the developer community, because it means we have to become better. We have to become better versions of what we were before. And like even at when I was at the Central Miami, there was a parallel event happening, which was like mostly corporates, right? So not like it was a Web3 event, but like there was Instagram, there was like all the big companies like Porsche, right? All of those. And it was really interesting to see them flooding the space, because of course they have no clue about blockchain, right? They might not have like any ideals or values connected to it, but while they want to enter this field, they bring other values and other standards to the whole field that make pure blockchain products like try and like go better, go bigger, right? Do more. So there was like there were also, I think, a bunch of really good talks in this actually free event. It was called Gateway. I believe they have a bunch of the talks published also on the YouTube channel. So it's, as much as we dislike centralization, and you guys know I totally agree on this, but it's it helps us learning, right? And not just think things. I mean, I don't do this anyways because I come from design, but a lot of engineers, they tend to think just from like solving a problem perspective, because that's what they are here to do, right? This is like the primary goal, and I get that. But then all of these other influences coming into the space, you're being poked, right? Like, hey, wait, it's great you have a solution, so let's make it attractive, right? Yeah. And they get poked more, and then the product becomes better and better and better. I've been personally testing the beta version of Lenster these days, so decentralized social media. I have to say I'm pretty wowed, right? Like, it could be prettier and everything, whatever, but the user experience is pretty fluent, and also the the experience of using the app in the sense of getting recommendations, getting like likes and collects. It's crazy good, right? This is like how social media could be fun. And Lens Protocol will also do, I think, bounties and a lot of stuff during ETH Denver. So if any of you is interested in social media, right, then keep a lookout for them. I think they're onto something really good. Yeah.
My thoughts here are like a lot of these projects, I feel like, at least like in the bull market or whatever, like before now, right? Like their focus, I mean, I think the entire product was, hey, we are on the blockchain. Like that's the whole point. But it really should, until the market switches to the fact that hey, blockchain is the backend, like, and you need to create a product that people want to use. The way you're trying to like save the data or like play around with it or create those mechanisms that make it fairer or equitable, like that needs to be under the hood. That doesn't need to be put onto my face like consistently. And I think
At
that's
least if you want to get to mass adoption,
yeah.
it has to be much more user friendly. And still now, I mean, there have been a lot of developments from, let's say, 21 to 23, right?
Yeah,
it's much easier to bridge assets and so on and so forth. But still, you have to learn about MetaMask, you have to learn about the different blockchains, you have to learn about how to change the token, and it's a lot.
I think that's
one thing.
But putting all the steps together, it might get quite complicated for a lot of people, and then they're anxious, It's going about money, and if you don't know really what to do, probably
my wallet got hacked. Like like Starter sent me something and my wallet immediately because when I was learning Solidity ages ago, right? Like I was like signing up to these different faucet websites to get like testnet. I think sometime I signed a smart contract or something, and now the second money came in, it went out. And
you want to know something, Rohan? Like after we looked into that, I was like so worried. I wiped my entire computer because I'm like, I don't know. I got because I was like, when you were like, what's going on here? And I'm like, I wiped my own computer, and I'm like, I didn't save anything. I just literally wiped. I'm like, what the hell? So the thing that I would just say, what I've heard here that I think is really important for all of us, the ethos that I joined and we're joining is about what I joined was because this was an alternative to a system. It was about freedom. And I think that with freedom, we've now seen mass adoption. And with this mass adoption we're seeing, what we need to remember is that where we started from back in 2009, where the Satoshi wrote his white paper and the Genesis block was created, was that it was about providing people with an alternative. And it was about inclusivity. So now as we have increased mass adoption, we need to maintain that inclusivity with the old institutions and embrace them, but embrace them in a way that makes it equitable for all. And I think this is the most beautiful thing about our journey. And this is the most beautiful thing about this community. I will always be stuck with the visual learners because I think we have a really good balance and secret. And I like the people in this group, so that helps.
Exactly, I'm in too.
I'd like to give a slightly different spin to this.
Sure.
Like in a sense, basically, crypto's blockchain is about trust. Okay, and stuff like AI, chat. It's about intelligence, a form of intelligence. So we've got the option of combining trust plus intelligence, and that's a layer which basically covers everything. It's so goddamn extremely powerful. It's for us to do the stuff. So the bulk of
data we can collect also, because it's a transparent ledger right in front of you. Everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly what both Florent and I think Lakshman. I think he had mentioned that particular article. This thing. So the thing. So the point is that the maximum amount of creative development happens through bare periods. In bare periods, this is the time we can talk to developers. They help us. During a bull market, nobody will speak to us.
Yeah. No, also,
we won't speak with people. We'll be so busy, we won't speak with people, Kojak.
No, but I'm meeting these people, right? I'm meeting.
I like that.
I'm meeting so many startups. When I was applying to places, I realized the way they go about their tokenomics is just that, that company did this, I'm gonna do the same, but that company also failed though. So it's there's no, like, they don't know how to think through this step by step, how to think through and it's very hard for everybody, including people who've gone through this process, like, of token engine, because the whole point is we're trying to incentivize agents who are completely autonomous. We don't want to force them, hey, you're only doing this or this, right? We're trying to let that create a system which the emergent properties are what we want, and that's extremely difficult. It's almost like evolving like it's like almost evolution, where you're letting animals do their things and somehow creating a self-sustaining.
Exactly.
Not only-
It-
Yeah.
wait,
it's
no,
not- I'm
you know, that's why
sorry,
it's emergent.
Yeah.
It is evolution. Evolution is everything.
It's
You-
not
we
only
iterate.
that, guys. It's also because this is about engineering, right? But we are missing the most crucial part. While we're talking about design in engineering, we're never talking about how do we actually design a product, right? A product has a very different design process. The best one that I've experienced so far, right, is design thinking. I've done this with IDEO, and I also come from a university that applies design thinking to, the design process. And this is like the first step, and often in purely engineered projects, right? This part is completely missing, where you ask, what does the consumer actually fucking want?
Yeah.
It's just this
Yeah.
assumption of, hey, I encountered this problem, I find this annoying, let's make a project around this, right? This is not how product design works. This is how you solve a problem, granted, but solving a problem doesn't necessarily make for a great product that people want to adopt. So there's this like
one problem.
clack.
Stella, I was just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was just going to say, solving it from the view that you just said, like I'm 100% aligned with you. I've been doing design thinking for the past 20 years. Like, it's design thinking is nothing new. It's just being repurposed by consulting firms as a new term. But the thing is that the approach that you just mentioned, when people look at solving a problem, right, without understanding what the actual true incentives are, or what people really want, they can solve a problem and break and create other problems, and what we've seen, right? So design thinking is one of those critical and pivotal things. I agree with you 100%.
I think we're missing this in the not in the TE fundamentals course, because that's really about engineering, right? And that's okay. But I think there should be eventually in the Token Engineering Academy another section. You said practical implications of encountering problems in the daily life of a token engineer. That's one thing I totally agree with. But the other thing would also be hey, as a token engineer, if I want to come up with a really good product, what would be the leading process to that, and what are the things that I need to ask and fulfill? It's almost like business planning for token engineers, almost.
Why don't we just do that? We have so much experience here. Why don't we so I've been doing design, I've been doing some design thinking related stuff lately for some stuff that I have to do on my day-to-day work. But what I was going to say,
secretive, some stuff.
Well, I like to keep my sort of professional and my this is where I'm I like to keep a little bit segregation there. But what I was going to say is that I think maybe that's our value add back to the community. Let's show them how to implement design thinking principles into designing a token and towards designing a token economy and tokenomics, and show them from a visual perspective and bring that back to TE Academy. I think that is a very powerful narrative that a lot of people will embrace. I don't know if
no, Static. I mean, let me just compliment you on that. I mean, in as much as this particular group has got the maximum number of persons who've cleared the modules, let us be the group which also has got the maximum number of projects which are successful in some form or the other. I mean, if you get one, it's good enough. But let's get a little more. So that'll be the demonstration for what you just said, Stella. One thing, and one more thing which I want to add to what particulars Stella said. See, Stella, design thinking is right at the at the client facing thing, extremely important, because ultimately, unless that is success, that works properly, your whole purpose, it doesn't succeed. But let me add another layer which is much more fundamental and more basic, which is which is also being missed out. Since you said design thinking is being missed out, there is another fundamental layer which is the most highest level of abstraction, for which the tool is there by block science, which is called general dynamic systems. The thing. So it's the two ends actually. Design thinking is right in the forefront. This is right at the bottom.
Yeah, understanding dynamic systems, complex adaptive systems, right?
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's fantastic, actually.
Really dynamic systems, yeah.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
General dynamic systems.
I was just gonna say is that I don't think we can't boil the ocean, right? So I don't know if that term makes sense. But
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Stella, I've tried with my little lighter. It doesn't work. Okay.
No. No.
Have we verified? Have we run the code?
Lighter.
Can we say that for sure?
Sada, we don't try to. We start by boiling one atom.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
yeah.
And once we know how to boil one atom, then we actually boil a kettle, then a pool. Okay, and then we leave it to the people to boil the ocean.
Nice.
I love that.
Well planned.
I think we should ideally close. I mean, we are past time.
I was gonna say that I gotta hop to the meeting, but thank you for sticking around. I'm happy to be back. I'm back
Good to
from
have you back.
the holidays.
And also
And,
good
We're
to have
happy to
Sarah
have you
now.
back, of
Yeah,
course.
we have a new member.
Woo.
Yeah.
Let's make 2023 a powerful year, an impactful year.
Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, my friends.
It's for us to make it happen. It's for us to make it happen, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
We will.
Also, a lot of ideas I had from this conversation, I'm going to write them down and maybe we'll execute one of them because I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
Like
let's
design
start with
thinking,
one.
entrepreneurial thinking, everything
Yeah.
in software engineering. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start with one, just one.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You
All right,
know,
guys.
at
See you
some
then
point
next
we will
week,
read
right?
Johan's scrolls about token
Okay,
engineering.
bye guys. Great.
Guys.
Okay. And thanks, Sarah. Sorry for
Bye,
keeping
bye,
you
bye,
longer
bye.
than you should have. Yeah.
No problem.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.